All right, this being the hour for the regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the Vallecitos Water District, Wednesday, June 19th at 5 p.m. Let's have a pledge of allegiance, and if Wes, our finance manager, would lead us in that.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Wes. And for the board, we will be doing the roll call electronically because the system doesn't work unless we start it off correctly. We have to start it off by doing it electronically.
Okay.
So if you would please plug in whether you're here or not.
Mine's doing the same thing it did last meeting. It just says for about.
No, the upper left hand.
Yeah. This one, the plus sign, right?
Yep.
Not doing anything.
Do you have everybody?
It already did.
Oh, it did? It got me? Okay.
It did take it.
Okay. So we're all here except for Jim Hernandez,
Correct.
who's absent at this time. Also, if you ring in on the lower right today, it'll show up on my screen that you'd like to speak. So we now have that function available to us. So instead of me having to look back and forth, I just need to look at the screen. Mike Snell is now on there and now off of there. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, to the roll call. We don't have any public comment, I don't believe.
None.
And there was the public presentation, okay. Chris Palmer, the CSDA Field Coordinator for Southern Network, will present Director Hernandez, if he was here, with a certificate of recognition in special district governance, which only took him 5 years to get.
Well, he finally got it done, and here we are to recognize him and
He's
give
not
a
here.
Clint Eastwood moment right here. So,
Exactly.
well, anyway, I'm going to give my speech because Jim really did earn this, and I'm sure something came up, and I'm sure we'll all understand that he's not here tonight. But again, my name is Chris Palmer. I'm the Public Affairs Field Coordinator for the California Special Districts Association. Tonight, I'm wearing my Special District Leadership Foundation hat, which is the 501c3 arm of CSDA, and this foundation was really created and dedicated to promoting excellence in special districts through recognition programs, of which Director Hernandez is being honored to tonight. So to earn this recognition in special district governance, it really takes two main aspects of it. So the program, one, the completion of the Special District Leadership Academy, which includes the following 4 courses: governance foundations, setting direction, community leadership, the board's role in human resources, and the board's role in finance and fiscal accountability. And the second part is Director Hernandez also completed 10 continuing education hours through CSDA and probably Aqua. So he went above and beyond with these extra courses and education to be better, to serve your constituents better. And so people ask, why this is important, and I think I've just stated it. It's important to show your constituents that you guys are going above and beyond to serve the needs of your community, and you're doing everything you can to be more educated about special districts and your community. So on behalf, Director Hernandez, of the board and staff of the Special District Leadership Foundation, my pleasure it would be to present the certificate to Director Hernandez, recognizing his commitment to dedication and provide the best public service to your community and your constituents. So congratulations, Director Hernandez, on this award.
Chris, my question is, now that Director Hernandez has joined the other 4 board members and the general manager in achieving the certificate, where does that put us in the standings?
Yes,
Level.
I will check, and I think that qualifies you as the platinum level for the Special District Leadership Foundation, which is the highest level. Honestly, that puts you guys in the top 1% of special districts, and there's over 2,000 of them in the state. So it's a pretty elite company, and thank you to all of you for participating in our program and being members. We really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris, and Mike Sinella.
Yeah, Chris, if you guys can exchange cards if you haven't already. What? Okay, you guys are tight, go way back.
Not my first rodeo here.
When you do find out, if you could let Chris know, and he does all of our public outreach and public relations, so it might be a good thing for our constituents to know about, so.
Yeah, I already sent an email to our professional development director, so I'll get in touch with both Chris and Glenn and then verify and confirm that the level that you guys are at, so happy to do so.
Cool, thank you.
And President Martin, if maybe I can ask you to come down and take a picture with Chris, accepting on behalf of Director Hernandez? No, I'm sorry, Director Evans, did I
Much
cut you off?
similar profile.
I was trying to figure it out. Can you push if you want to speak? So if I do that. I do.
I don't have good sides. Maybe their social media. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and one from Mark. Do like all the
Anyone
parents,
else?
right? All the parents come up. Okay, super, thank you, you two.
Great, thank you, President. Appreciate that. And please give my best to Director.
I certainly will.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
President Martin, may I?
Yes, certainly.
Is it on now?
No.
Now I push it again?
Nope. Have to wait for him to get back.
Oh,
There you go.
thank you. Do what?
Now you can.
Mr. Palmer, I'm hiding
Oh,
over here.
yes, I'm sorry.
Not only it's wonderful that you were here, and I know Jim would be very proud to have gotten that now, but I just wanted to thank the organization on the benefit of all of us who have been able to go to it. The CSDA does a wonderful job of offering us a lot of information and training in areas you don't even necessarily know you need when you become a board member and become involved, and the quarterly dinners are wonderful, and I just really appreciate all the work you do. You're kind of behind the scene. I don't think the public knows what you do or what you're out there for, but it's been very beneficial to us.
long
And
as
I
it's
just want
beneficial
to
for
send up
you.
my thanks.
I sincerely appreciate those comments, and I'll pass that along to our staff up in Sacramento. And that's not about us, it's about you guys. And I'm glad we could be a resource for you. Thank you so much. And as all of you know, I'm based in Orange County. If there's anything I can ever do for you, I'm your local CSDA field rep. So if you have questions about legislation or professional development or anything of that nature, please feel free to contact me, and I'd be happy to help you.
And the San Diego chapter is the best chapter you have, right?
I will go on record, the San Diego chapter is the best chapter, yes. Yes, I will definitely hold to that.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
great, thank you all.
Thank you, Chris.
Oh, yeah, and just to mention how this works, when you push the request, I push your name and it goes red. It goes
Up
green.
here?
Yeah, it'll be green if you just push your name on it now.
I'll push it.
It goes green, and then when I push on it, it goes red, and that means you're live.
Oh,
The opposite of what you would think.
thank you.
That's
Yeah, same, would you please?
because of the
be
good
quiet?
work they've done. Okay, moving on to the consent calendar. Need a motion?
Move to approve.
And
Second. Move
and a
to approve
second?
the consent calendar.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So moved, all right. Action items. Item number 2.1, General Manager Broom.
Yeah, Finance Manager Owen's actually going to cover this, but this is an annual item we have to do to address how we bill those sewer customers that are not also water customers. So with that, I'll turn it over to Wes.
And quick question was, how many of those are there?
Ooh, I think it's,
About 1850-ish, between 18 and 1900.
Thank you, Mike.
so this is,
Button here.
You're good.
So this item is brought to the board annually. And as General Manager Prum mentioned, these are sewer-only customers in Improvement District A. It's areas that are sewer-only customers where the water service is provided by other districts such as VID. And the district has elected to have the sewer service fees collected on the tax roll. So the county requires us to bring this to the board on an annual basis to make the election, and then the second one is to discuss the methodology for the collection of the tax fees. So With that, staff recommends that the board approve this resolution and set the public hearing, which the resolution also does, is set the public hearing for the next board meeting, which is July 17th, to discuss the method of collection for those sewer service fees.
A quick question is, does the county take a percentage for doing that?
They get, I've been told, 10 cents per parcel.
10 cents per person?
Parcel.
Parcel.
And
Parcel.
they're about a little over 1,800 parcels, so $187 or whatever it is, $185.
Well worthwhile. All right, need a motion?
Give me some red here.
Mike Chanel, come on.
Yeah, I'll move,
Push it faster. You're green. You're green.
no, I need to be red.
There you go.
I move to approve the resolution for the service fee as presented by staff.
Second?
All in favor?
This
Roll
is a
call.
Roll call.
please.
Oh, all right. Oh, children up on the big board. Excellent. All right, moving on to action item number 2.2. Adopt a memorandum of understanding with the Employees Association for fiscal year 2019 to 2020, 2020 to 2021, 21 to 22, 22 to 23.
All right.
General Manager Pruitt, if you have a report.
I do. Thank you, President Martin. The item before you, and it starts on page 46 of the board packet, is a staff report summarizing the terms and conditions that were part of the recently completed employee labor negotiations. And there's a resolution and some exhibits attached too. So just as a refresher, the main items in the negotiations, and this is not an exhaustive list, but the main items, they included the cost of living allowances, base medical cost contributions, an increase in deferred compensation matching by the district, adjustments to vacation caps, accruals, and sellbacks. It excludes management and confidential employees from the association, and it places limitations on sick leave accrual. So several actions are required tonight to complete the labor agreement process. The first will be to adopt the MOU with the Employees Association. Second, as the management and confidential employees will no longer be part of the association as of July 1, a separate action is needed to apply the same terms of employment to them as in the employee handbook and in the MOU. Third, revisions to the district's pay schedule to reflect the COLA, the cost of living allowance provisions of the MOU, require board adoption. And it does, the pay schedule does include some position changes that were adopted in the budget. 2 position retitles and 1 new classification, a new FTE, the asset management supervisor. And the last action is an additional position reclassification with no increase in FTEs. So as detailed in the staff report, the increases in costs for all of these items were included in the budget that was approved at the last board meeting on June 13th. So the negotiation started back in earnest back in February of this year, and I think it was a pretty collaborative approach between the board, management, and the Employees Association. The employees voted to accept the district's second offer back on June 4th. It was an overwhelming vote there. The process is never easy, and partly because you have a new labor negotiator, so it was my first time going through this with the district. And there was a new representation by the district, by the Employees Association, but I think we got through it pretty well. Successful outcome and results in a 4-year MOU if approved by the board. So the final step will be for the board to approve the MOU, and I want to thank the board and thank the Employees Association for all their hard work there and a reasoned approach throughout the whole thing. And we do have some representatives from the Employees Association with us tonight just to show support for the MOU that's being presented tonight. So having said that, staff recommends that the board approve the attached resolution to do these 4 things. Adopt the MOU, to establish terms and conditions of employment for management and confidential employees, to reclassify the purchasing warehouse supervisor position to a senior purchasing specialist as part of reorganization, and to approve the district pay schedule. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Okay, any questions?
Are those 4 separate?
It's all wrapped up.
All in one motion.
It's all written. I'm sorry. It's all in the resolution.
Need a motion? We do have speakers, sorry about that. Well, there weren't when I said we need a motion.
I would like to move for the motion for approval of this, but I do also want to compliment staff and the board and the Employee Association for doing a beautiful job of getting through the situation. I was very impressed with the details and the collaboration. So thank you all.
And I'll second Director Evans' motion, and I'll also say, thank everybody involved, from staff and all of our employees. These types of negotiations, they're not fun, and it takes a bit of a give and take attitude, and everybody was in it together, and I think we were able to come away with a fair and a fair MOU that takes care of our employees for the next few years. So,
Director Ellithorpe?
Yeah, I'd like to thank everyone as well, both management and the Employees Association, for the collaborative effort. Thank you.
And finally, obviously, the collaborative effort worked very, very well. I'd like to thank you, your mothers, your fathers, your teachers. But thank you very much for making it go very, very smoothly for everybody. So, thank you. And with that, yep.
All votes are in. Thank you.
All votes are in. 4-0. Congratulations, everyone. Thank you, Finance Department.
Thank you.
have a good night.
Thank you. All right, moving on. General Manager's report.
Yeah, I have a few items. First, real quick, just a reminder, this Saturday will be the open house. Starts at 4:30. Starts at 8:30 in the morning, right here at the district facilities. We have 72 people, I think, that are supposed to show up, in addition to any board members that may join us. You may recall at a recent meeting, I think it was President Martin asked for an update on the solar study.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask James to give a real brief overview. It's not agendized, so we can't have a deep discussion, but James will give you an overview of the process.
Yeah, thank you. President Martin, you asked about just an update on the schedule. So we actually had a meeting with Terra Verde today. We're finalizing the request for proposals to get the Twin Oaks and the Lake San Marcos sites out to get power purchase agreements getting going. It's about a 2-month process. So with the environmental document, which is the CEQA, mitigated negative deck, we're doing that in parallel. We expect to go out for proposals in mid-July. We expect to come at the first meeting in August to circulate the mitigated negative deck, and then come probably around the first meeting in September for adoption or certification of the mitigated negative deck and its findings, for which will take care of the environmental process. Since it's about a 2-month to 2.5-month process to get the power purchase agreements, proposals, review them, and do new performas, we'll be coming basically by the end of September, maybe first meeting in October, back to the board with the recommendation with Terra Verde based on what proposals we got, whether to move forward. That'll be the next off-ramp for the board to take a look at.
Thank you, James. Something I saw this morning at my first meeting of the Capital Improvement Committee at EWA. And they have a sheet, which I thought was very interesting. I know you guys have seen it. And it shows on it date of construction contract, notice to proceed, original completion date, revised completion date. Is it possible for us to have that on our projects?
Yeah, actually, we have
Just
that.
so we know what's going on?
Yes, we have that and more. If you recall, yearly we do the capital facilities update. It's right on our website. We have what we call a fact sheet on there. It's got issues, schedule, construction, design. It's got all the dates, any issues, change orders. It's got all that information on there with a whole description. We went through several different agencies. We actually show more information on our website just by clicking on the button than any of the report. And it's there for not only for board members and committee members, but anybody in the public to see. So if you go to our website now, you can click on any project that's active and it'll give you all that information.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, James. I'm sorry.
Director Sinella.
Yeah, going back to the general manager's first topic, the open house. I'm glad that, first off, glad that we're doing it, so thank you, staff, for taking time on your weekend to host this important public outreach event. I'm glad that we have 72 people. I haven't seen anything like on social media. I mean, how have we been advertising it?
Chris isn't here. I don't remember how we first did it, but we pulled back, and as the event gets closer, we need to know how many people so we can order the right amount of food and everything. So we haven't been promoting it much in the last couple of weeks because we had such a good early response. But I think they were out there, it was on the website, and I think there was some social media, but when they got to a certain number, they just stopped promoting the event.
Okay. Super. Thanks.
Okay, a couple more items. The board may remember we did that slip lining project of a water line on Stargaze Court. And one of the things I think the board members noticed when they went out to the field is the condition of the pavement out there was pretty bad because of the previous water main breaks and work that had been done out there. So we worked with the neighborhood and we worked with the city, and just today, I think it was, we did the final paving of Stargaze. So if you get a chance, you may want to drive by Stargaze. And I didn't get a chance to get out there physically myself, but I saw a picture, it looked great, and I'll take a look at it tomorrow.
Have you guys been out there? It looks good?
Looks excellent.
Like brand new?
Brand new.
Yeah.
Did you say buy VWD?
Yeah,
So
brought to
people
you.
know this one patch? Give us credit?
Was that the one that's up at the cul-de-sac? Yeah, the cul-de-sac was pretty bad, yeah. Do we have a contractor do it, or do we do it?
Contract.
And it was probably most of the cul-de-sac. I mean, if I remember when we were up there, it was in pretty bad shape. It wasn't just like one little, 4 foot by 4 foot patch. It was,
We did the whole cul-de-sac
Yeah.
as far as the slurry stuff.
wow. And you guys ironed out all those little ripples and bumps and,
Yeah, there's a lot of preparatory work before they did the final overlay or
It
slurry.
was a really big iron too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I bet the neighbors up there were pretty happy. Did anybody hear from them or talk to them or, I mean, just
Finished
because.
it today.
Oh,
The
okay.
slurry's still out.
Yeah. But I mean, they knew it was taking place and, I mean, yeah, it was in pretty bad shape. I mean, I know if it was my cul-de-sac, I would have been calling you guys a lot, early and often.
I have a few more items, just some other work we're doing. A while ago, and I don't remember the date, but we had a damaged section of a sewer bypass line. It goes from Rancho Santa Fe, kind of through the canyon, almost all the way out to Melrose. We had a failed section. So we just repaired that. And that line was to divert flows from Lake San Marcos away from, if we don't want those flows to go to Meadowlark, we can divert them into the outfall. So that repair was done yesterday. When was that completed?
It was completed last week.
Last week, so just completed that work. There's another section of that pipeline that needs to have a point repair as well. And then in the long run, we may have to slip line that whole line, and that's actually in the CIP. While we were out there, we had a section cut out to do the point repairs. We put a closed circuit television camera to go up both lines of the pipe, which you can't normally see because it doesn't have manholes. And we did notice a few additional areas that may need point repairs, and the general condition of the pipe was poorer than we thought, at least in the top of the pipe. So we may need to accelerate our slip lining of it. So it's not big, I'm not asking for any approval now, so maybe next year's budget, we may ask to move some CIP dollars forward to address that issue.
If I may ask, in the middle of Palmer Airport Road, in the center median, there's been a lot of work being done for the new apartment complex. I do believe, is that water, is that sewer, what is that?
It's not us.
Most of that's telecommunications that's going in over there. So
Oh, okay.
the sewer goes off to the backside, and there was water line that was put in for that project quite a while ago, well over 2 years ago.
Thank you. General Manager?
Let's see, we're in the final stages of our Rock Springs Road sewer project. I think we have, 200 lineal feet more to go? What's that, 100?
100.
All right, it's moving, that's pretty good. So that'll be nice. So I think that project will be substantially complete by the end of this month. There will still be some follow-up items and punch list, but hopefully we'll be able to put sewer back into it and not have to do the bypass operation that we have going on.
The houses that we had to interrupt, are they all happy? The homeowners?
They seem to be, yeah.
Okay.
You may remember at a recent meeting, we showed a video of the smoke testing operations. I hopefully you remember that thing we do. I just want to let the board know that on June 26th, in a neighborhood near Paloma Elementary, we're going to be doing another smoke test. So sometimes we get calls from people wondering why is there smoke coming out of their chimney or out of their, or the vent stack on their roof or out of their ground. So if the board hears anything, it's June 26th, and it is us, and we're just looking to see if there's any areas of inflow and infiltration into our wastewater collection system. And I think the last thing I wanted to mention, and I sent all the board members an email on this, is that San Marcos has put together their advisory committee for the general plan update. President Martin has been appointed. District Engineer Gumpel will be the alternate, and James will attend the meetings with President Martin. And the General Plan Advisory Committee's first meeting will be held on Tuesday, July 23rd at 6 p.m. at City Hall. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. District Legal Counsel.
I just had a couple of items. In 27, you may remember the Little Hoover Commission issued a report with 20 basically recommendations to improve special district oversight. Since that time, CSDA and the Institute for Local Governments have been working on responses to some of those recommendations. One of them they're working on is a response to what was called Recommendation 11, which related to raising awareness of local governing boards. So they're looking for input. I don't know if you've all seen that. The Institute for Local Government is going to put together a tip sheet from local governments in terms of best practices for outreach to secure candidates for local elections, et cetera. So they're canvassing special districts for input, and they're looking for that. The second item I wanted to raise, because it's kind of become a hot topic under 1090, is what's become known as an additional work issue. As you know, 1090 prohibits public officials and employees from making public contracts that benefit themselves or that they have a financial interest in. 2017, that was extended to some independent contractor situations where the independent contractor has influence on the governing board relative to entering into a second contract. So there's been a lot of litigation and issues coming out of that. For example, where you have a design professional who designs something and then recommends hiring the design professional to build is a classic situation. FPPC issued some letters. This is now coming up in the energy service context where they're hiring a consultant to provide advice on energy contracts, and then that provider is suggesting doing the second contract with them. So that was one of the recent advice letters. There were 3 of them issued this last month on additional work issues. So that's a kind of an ongoing field.
Yeah, as that may relate to us, we hired Terra Verde, as James mentioned, to be kind of our representative. They are specifically precluded from doing any work beyond the recommendations and helping us find somebody to do the work for us, but they're not allowed to create the conflict that Jim's talking about.
Thank you. San Diego County Water Authority.
There's actually no report. There's a meeting next, the 27th.
All right, Encino Wastewater Authority. I did this morning attend the Encino Wastewater Authority Capital Improvement Committee, which is Jim's on that committee, but he was unable to attend. Very interesting. The work they're doing, the sedimentation tank wall number 1, I believe, as they went in, is the first time they've been in there in 50 years. And the wall needs to be replaced. They didn't expect that. So between that and having the setup of the bypass there, it's going to be about a $500,000 hit, $450,000 roughly. Also, on the congester wall, the walls they found some leaks in, you know, that is more structurally damaged than they thought in the beginning. Some of the beams are going to have to be replaced, so they're going to be bringing that back at our next meeting as to how much I think that's going to cost. So they have some cost overruns. That's all I have from them, and of course that goes into our budget items as to where you're going to pay for it.
We have a coupon.
Huh?
We have a coupon. We're good.
We have a coupon? Okay, we'll be taking them. Standing committees. Do we have any standing
Yeah.
committees?
Finance Committee.
Yep.
Ready for me?
Go right ahead, Director Sinelli, I got you.
Finance Committee met on Monday. Director Martin and I met with Jennifer from Davis and Farr, our auditing firm, to kick off the audit for this upcoming fiscal year. It's the same firm that we used last year, and I think even the year before. I think this is their third year. Or second year. Okay, second year. But if you may recall from last year's audit, I think if I recall correctly, the firm did a wonderful job and received a lot of praise from everybody on the board up here afterwards. So we expect that they'll do a phenomenal job again this year. So that kicked off, and I think Diane sent us all kind of that standard letter that lets us know. If you haven't seen it, it's in your email box, but lets us know as board members that we're going through this process, and that if we have any suspicion or suspect that there's anything, any wrongdoing or fraud or anything, that we should bring it to their attention. So we also got a brief update on the cost of service study RFP that is currently out, and there's two companies that have submitted proposals, and they're being evaluated as we speak. And so we'll get more information as that works through the process. As kind of more background, you guys probably remember the district has handled those cost of service studies internally in the past, at least in recent years, and we'll have a chance to get a third party and a different set of eyes to take a look at our cost of service study and make a recommendation for how we may want to go forward in the future. So that's it.
Excellent. Anyone else? No? Director's reports on meetings, conferences, seminars. Director Sinella?
I attend so much stuff.
Hey, doing a good job.
Yesterday morning, I attended the CAWA meeting. It was a little bit different meeting than they normally have. I think Craig and Hal were there with, and Glenn as well. But for Betty's information, they didn't have a speaker this month. They're actually kind of going through. They're having some trouble with their reorganization as far as finding presidents and vice presidents and secretaries and all the different positions that you need in an organization. So they kind of, and then they also realized that other bylaws have been kind of loosely followed in the past. And long story short, they formed a new bylaw kind of committee to come up with kind of a new plan as what CAWA is going to do and look like in the future. I volunteered to be on that committee and was selected for it, so I'm looking forward to being able to contribute to the future state of this organization, whatever that might be. But there's no presentation really to report on. That was really the big thing that we accomplished.
Did they also select somebody else?
Oh, they selected, was it Mia? Mina to be their, I guess, temporary chair. It wasn't really president. It wasn't really clear exactly how that's going to hash out. But as of right now, Mina from Metropolitan is going to be the chairperson for the organization until the bylaw committee, holds our meetings and comes up with the future plan.
Yeah, so technically, they selected Jeff Keitlinger, the GM
right,
for
yeah.
Metropolitan, but they allowed a clarification or an amendment to their bylaws that would allow somebody to appoint somebody, with the thought being that Jeff would allow Mina to be the chair.
Which I
Oh,
good report, and I would just like to add, I thought it was really good to do that, because without Mina stepping up, we wouldn't have had that meeting yesterday, because nobody was willing to chair it until she did it, and then suddenly everybody was interested. So that was an overwhelming vote of 98% of the people in the room. There were only 2 that voted no. Everyone else was an aye. So it tells a lot about people's feelings, I think. Interesting. Director Sinella?
And just to follow up on that, I don't know if you guys picked up on it, but there were, considering that there's that the whole meeting was to discuss how there's not really an organization. There was a lot of people in the audience and people that that don't typically come. I mean, there was a member of the city council of San Diego there. It's like, it was interesting how like all of a sudden now there's this new interest in CAWA when the organization really doesn't exist right currently. So it was interesting.
Director Evans.
I just want to say thank you for that report. I had hoped to have been there, and I got caught up in LA with I couldn't find a way to charge my car to get down in time. So I appreciate that, and it sounds like it was a really good thing, because it's very true that the bylaws had been pretty much ignored, like you said, for quite some time, and had been sort of a lackadaisical approach to it. And it is interesting that this time has brought out a real strong feeling of we still want CAWA to exist, and what do we want it to be. So thank you all for being there and putting in the vote and getting it moving forward. Please.
With that said, does anyone else have anything they want to bring up? Any other business? Seeing none, we're adjourned.